Thanks for seeing me.
Well, it's always nice to see a doctor when you don't have any aches and pains.
This isn't really a social visit.
What, some sort of medical breakthrough you want me to share with my readers?
No, nothing like that. I have something important, something which could be very useful in the right hands. Maybe you should take a look at this. It's a critical piece of evidence. Help me to decide what to do.
Why don't you sit down? You want a soda or something? Something to drink?
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Soda?
That's fine.
Ginger ale, okay?
Sure.
So, about this videotape. Why do you want me to see it?
Because you've been described as a highly ethical person, someone that I can trust, and you know that Gloria and Craig had an affair.
What's the significance of the tape?
It was Gloria's. Will Cortlandt, he stole it from her. Craig and Gloria, they wanted it back. They wanted it so badly. I think that they killed Will to try to get it. Gloria completely changed after the rape. For one thing, it altered her attitude toward Dixie.
How do you mean?
Well, they grew really close. She even managed to work out some sort of friendship with Craig. She'd been blackmailing him.
With the tape?
After the rape, she stopped threatening him with the tape, and she tried to be good friends with him. Trouble is that she kept the tape. According to Gloria, when she went back to her apartment to get rid of it, somebody had beat her to it.
Will.
He was in her apartment with the tape.
So, let me guess. Will said that he would only give her the tape back if she dropped the rape charges, right?
Mm-hmm. Went in front of the whole world and said that she lied.
Which would explain why she would eat crow in front of the press.
And even after she cleared him, shortly after that, Will shows up dead.
Let me ask you something, Stephen. How is it that you happened to end up with this tape?
Well, after Will's death, Dixie received a letter from him.
From Will?
Yeah. And she explained to me after she received the letter that she couldn't bear to go through Will's things. Since I knew that he'd buried this tape somewhere, I offered to go through his trunk for her. When I found the tape, to protect Dixie, I kept it.
Why didn't Dixie ask Craig to go through the trunk? I mean, Craig is her husband.
I assume it's because there was so much bad blood between them. Look, they hated each other. Dixie was always trying to keep them apart just to keep the peace. And again, that's Dixie. She's always trying to protect Craig from having to deal with things. Did you know that he didn't even show up for Will's burial?
Well, now that I know the whole story, that doesn't really surprise me.
He's Dixie's husband. He should have been there. You know, if I hadn't shown up, Dixie, she would have buried her brother alone.
It was very thoughtful of you to be there for her.
Look, I'm just glad that Craig wasn't the person who found the tape, because he would have destroyed it. And then Brian, he'd go to prison for a murder that he didn't commit.
In other words, you really think that Craig killed Will because of this tape?
Look, he was obsessed with getting the tape before anybody else did. He's terrified, Brooke. He knows that if Dixie sees this tape, he will lose her. He can't afford to let that happen.
What about you? How do you feel about Dixie seeing this tape?
Next. On the one hand, I hate to see her get hurt again.
And on the other hand, you're in love with her.
Yes, I love Dixie. But if you think this is my way of trying to win her away from Craig, you're way off base. I already told Dixie that I love her. She's made it very clear to me that she loves him.
Yes, but you already said to me that if she knew about this tape, it's quite possible...
Look, I'm sorry that I even wasted your time.
Stephen, wait a minute, all right? The thought had to be at the back of your mind that if Dixie ever saw this tape, it's possible that she might change her tune.
Maybe it was. But my reason for coming here was to protect an innocent kid from going to prison. I thought that that might matter to you.
Listen, we're talking about murder. It's important that I know where you're coming from.
Fine. Here it is. I love Dixie. And I hate the thought of what this tape might do to her. I also hate the thought of her being duped by Craig. I'm sorry I even found the damn thing. I haven't had a decent night's sleep since.
All right, let's put the cards on the table, all right? Craig and Gloria have an alibi for the time of the murder.
Yeah, supposedly.
All right, so why don't we leave it at that? Why don't you just accept the fact that Dixie loves Craig and wish them happily ever after?
Don't you think I haven't thought of doing that?
Well, what's stopping you?
It's not because I want to break up Craig and Dixie. Look, this is evidence, Brooke. Evidence that could help save Brian.
You know, I am not a fan of Craig's by a long shot. But he has talked to me about Dixie, and quite frankly, he's convinced me that he loves her.
He's a con artist, Brooke. Come on. Look how he managed to get you to keep quiet about that sports car he bought Gloria. Look how he managed to get me to keep quiet about a million other things. The only person he didn't manage to con
was Will Cortlandt.
Yeah. And look where he is today. I don't think you're any more convinced by Lawson's Mr. Sincere act than I am. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had that unpleasant conversation you had with him this afternoon.
You were eavesdropping on that?
Why don't you just look at the tape?
Not much for voyeurism.
You had to look at it in order to know what I was talking about. So what do we do about this?
I don't know.
You can see now why I didn't bother telling anyone else about this.
The first thing that we have to do is verify Craig and Gloria's alibi, and to do that we have to talk to Dmitri Merrick.
And if it's for real?
If it's for real, there is no profit to be gained from implicating them in the murder, and we'll destroy the tape.
Agreed. On the other hand, if Merrick lied when he alibied,
then I think that we should turn it over to somebody.
The police?
No, someone... Well, actually, I was thinking of Montgomery.
Sounds good. It's Brian's attorney.
I think if anybody can get to the bottom of this, Jack can.
The only trouble is that how do we check out Gloria and Craig's alibi?
Leave it to me. You wanted to tell me something about Gloria?
Nurse Marsh and Craig Lawson. I heard you questioning Sabrina about them.
Oh, I was just making conversation.
Miss English, I don't like the idea of testifying against my son-in-law, so I could never testify in any court, not under any circumstances.
Whatever you have to say would remain off the record.
Good. It's been troubling me a great deal.
You do know something about the alibi, don't you? Ask Sabrina about the night of Will's murder, and something's troubling you.
Yes.
Something about Gloria. About Gloria's alibi? Helga, is Gloria's alibi false?
If it were, she could be guilty.
Of murder, yeah.
She's Angelique's nurse. She's the woman Dmitri trusts to take care of my precious...
Helga, why don't you tell me what you know about that night?
Miss English, you may take your prying questions and vacate these premises immediately.
Excuse me?
You heard Helga, Brooke. Before you go, I'd like you to tell me what the hell you think you're up to now.
Dmitri, I'm sorry.
Brooke,
Sabrina let her in.
I asked you a question.
I was trying to get rid of
I
her.
understand that, and I can handle it. Thank you. Please go.
Yes, Dmitri.
Well,
Well, I stopped by to do a follow-up on the profile that I wrote in the magazine about you.
I see, but without first calling for an appointment.
Well, I'm sorry, Dmitri. I thought it
I
would
would
be
have
all right
thought
with
that
you.
you'd have dug up enough dirt.
I had no intention of hurting you. It's just that the article generated a lot of interest among our readers, and,
I see. Exactly what were you hoping to discover by grilling Helga?
it wasn't grilling Helga. I mean, if you haven't noticed, she's a little strange.
What did you say to her?
What I said was, as far as this follow-up is concerned, it would probably have to deal with Angelique's health.
No, Angelique's health is none of your readers' concern.
Fine. You'd rather have gossip than accurate reporting, I guess?
No, I would prefer privacy. You see, I am entitled to my privacy, Brooke, and I am prepared to exercise that right to protect it. Is that clear?
Crystal.
Look. As a friendly acquaintance, you are welcome here, but as Brooke English, the reporter, I'm sorry, you're not.
Fine. If you change your mind, you know where you can reach me,
Brooke,
right?
I am not going to change my mind. Goodbye.
Goodbye. It was so weird. I mean, Helga was on the verge of obviously telling me something about Gloria. Dimitri walked in the room, and she clammed up. I mean, she got huffy. It was like she was really afraid of him.
I don't blame her.
I don't blame her either. It's just that at this point we aren't any closer to the truth about Gloria and Craig's alibi than we were before, so...
Just when I thought I finally found a concrete way how to deal with this damn videotape.
I'm sorry. You know, I thought we did too.
Now Dixie's back.
You saw her?
At the hospital. I was hoping she might get some perspective on Craig while she was away.
It didn't happen, huh?
You know, it kills me to think that I could be leaving her happily married to a murderer.
Listen, don't say that, all right? Because right now, it's just speculation.
Look, it has to stop. We have to find out the truth.
I agree with that. Excuse me. Helga,
I need to talk to you privately.
come in. Do you know Stephen? Dr. Stephen Hamill?
Hello, Helga.
You can trust me, all right? You can trust both of us. Please, just tell us what you know about Craig and Gloria. Where were they the night that Will was murdered?
If anyone ever asks,
We never talked, all right?
I'll deny it. I won't testify, and I won't talk to the police. But I do have to talk to someone.
You can trust us.
All right. For some unfathomable reason, Dimitri is protecting Gloria.
How?
He told the police that she was back on the job that night by 9 o'clock, that she gave Angelique her 9 o'clock medication.
But she didn't.
No, I did. Gloria was nowhere to be found, so I administered the medication. Later, I heard a car pull up in the driveway. I looked out the window, and I saw Gloria enter the house with Mr. Lawson.
What time was that? Do you know?
I always keep track of the comings and goings of the domestic employees. It was 9:45.
9:45?
Yes. Gloria was very upset. She was leaning on him as they entered the house. I don't know how long he stayed or what upset her, but I do know she stayed up late that night by herself. Her light was on, and I could hear her moving about. That's all I know.
Thank you. Really, thank you, Helga. I don't want you to worry about this information getting out. Journalists protect their sources, and Dimitri will never know that we talked.
I hope so. Goodbye, Dr. Hamill.
Goodbye. I checked the sign-out sheet at the hospital for the night of March the 20th. Gloria left the hospital at 8:50 p.m.
It's only a 10-minute drive to Wildwood. So what happened to those other 45 missing minutes?
For my money? They were at Will's.